Okay, everyone, I'm really, really excited today because I have the honor of being joined by Madison Iseman, aka Rain Burrows in Fear of Rain. Madison, how you doing today?
So great, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing really good. So before we jump into this, everyone who's watching at home, just make sure to watch the movie first. We're going to talk spoilers in this interview. So we're going to really kind of delve into how crazy this film is. But what really I loved about this, Madison, was how powerful your performance was. It just really showed the acting chops you really do have. And I was wondering, watching it, was there any other roles in film or TV that kind of inspired your portrayal of Rain?
It's interesting because normally I would say yes, but actually for this, there wasn't really anything in particular that I drew from because really where this came from, obviously Castile, our amazing director, and we did a bunch of research. That was kind of like the main priority for everything. Watched just millions of videos, spoke with, people in person, and there was a memoir written by Ellen Sachs called The Center Cannot Hold, which was sort of like, our Bible throughout this whole thing. It kind of tells her journey from a young woman to adulthood, living with schizophrenia. So I really used that book as really like my Bible and guidance throughout this whole thing. So no, not really based on anyone, just like a mixture of people's different experiences and what I learned and gathered. And hopefully we wanted to just give like the most appropriate performance portrayal that we possibly could. It was important to us.
No, wow, that's a really interesting answer, and that's cool that you kind of pulled from a book. That's a very
Yeah.
unique style of like getting into a character. I like that a lot. So, watching this, also running through my mind is how heavy of a role this is, and how dark of a place you must have gone to play Rain. Now, were you in this mind of Rain when the camera wasn't rolling, and did you kind of how was it hard was it to get out of that when the movie was done filming?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Obviously, too, I will never have any idea what it is actually like to live with schizophrenia and to be in those shoes. But I mean, obviously, it was very heavy material. A lot of days were very exhausting. But I feel like I treat characters and roles almost like shoes, if that makes sense. So, like, when I leave for the day, I put on my shoes and then I come home and I take them off. So that way I'm kind of able to just unwind
Mm.
myself at home and I don't have to bring anything back with me. But it also helped. Obviously, we had just a fantastic cast. And so, like, Harry Connick Jr. was just such a jokester all day. So it was nice to kind of have like the levity of like some lightness in between some of the dark scenes.
Okay, so that's great that you actually have that. And speaking of his character who plays your father in the film, can you kind of elaborate on the line that kind of stuck with me the most that you say to him in your big fight scene with him when you said, "I'm not my sickness"? Can you kind of just go a little more what that exactly means when Rain's saying that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the whole stigma with mental illness and schizophrenia, just as schizophrenia is, it's people who live with schizophrenia, they're ordinary people. They put on their shoes in the morning and they brush their teeth and they have a future. Rain, especially, like, it's so interesting to play a young woman with schizophrenia, which I feel like is something that's not often told from a perspective of, a 15-year-old girl. Because she has a normal life and she goes to school and she has crushes on boys and she gets in fights with her dad and she's thinking of college and like people who live with schizophrenia, they're not their sickness. They really aren't. They have the world at their hands, and this is just a part of their story and a part of their journey.
So, would you say that's at the end of the day what this film is mostly trying to say? Is there anything else you would say this film's trying to like get across as the main message to the audience?
Yeah, I definitely think that is the main message is, to destigmatize and to talk about mental illness. And there's a scene actually that Castile wrote where Rain is actually explaining what her schizophrenia is to Caleb. And I think it's just something you never really see in films. Like, I feel like half the time they just expect you to know. But I mean, I hope someone who's watching who doesn't have any idea what schizophrenia is, I hope they can learn something. More than anything, I just think there needs to be more representation in film, and I'm happy that this is like a little stepping stone into hopefully more.
No, and that's a great scene you just brought up because that's when she's on the bridge with Caleb and she says sorry for having schizophrenia. He's like, would someone with diabetes say sorry? And that really was effective because it made me think about that. And I think that really does serve to the purpose, like you're saying, about getting rid of the stigma of mental health. And it was really effective. So I also want to ask too, because you're a little older than your character of Rain, and now you're kind of going back to like your high school days. Did you find any maybe scenes or moments that felt like similar that you can relate to from, Madison, her real life?
I mean, yeah, like I love playing young. It's so fun. Part of me just wants to grow up. But I mean, like
Yeah.
all those scenes with Caleb, especially, they were fun. And like, I love Israel. He's so fantastic. And I just think it was so important to show because, she's allowed to have a crush on a boy, and then obviously there's a whole nother level of like, is he real? Is he not real? Obviously. But, yeah, I think absolutely. She's a fun loving girl and she really just wants to be loved and understood.
Yeah, and you absolutely crush it here, and it makes me really excited to see where your career is actually going to go. Some exciting news about your career is that you're going to be in I Know What You Did Last Summer series on Amazon. Is there anything you can tell us about it? Are you guys in production? Are you guys like, is it
Currently
something you're excited about?
feeling right now. Right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I actually, it's funny too. I literally had a night shoot all last night. I'm running on like an hour of sleep.
Oh man, you are a trooper.
Doing it. No, there's literally nothing I can tell you. We were sworn to secrecy. I can tell you though that it is going fantastic and I am so excited. I cannot wait for us to give any sort of details because I'm like so eager to talk about it, but no, we can't say anything yet.
No, but that in itself is exciting. It sounds like it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. But while we wait for that, everyone, you must, if you haven't already, watch Fear of Rain. It's out today, available digitally, on demand, and in select theaters. And it's coming to Blu-ray and DVD on February 16th. So you have no excuse not to watch this film and watch Madison just take over and show her real acting chops. It's an incredible film. I'm so excited for everyone to watch it. And Madison, I'm so grateful for talking to you today.
Thank you. This was so great. Also, I love your is that sharp objects in the back?
That is Sharp Objects. Love it.
Great show.
Great show. Great show. You're isn't your girl Sydney Sweeney in that one?
In it. Yeah, she's
Yep.
fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Madison. I hope to talk to you in the future.
Yeah, thank you. Take care. Stay safe.
You too.